back. So this lesson, we're going to try and build this layout right here from what it is right now. And if you haven't seen the layout right now, it's not looking anything like this. We just have gibberish all over the place with different information. So we're going to try and align those using Bootstrap. Now, first of all, in order to do this, I want you to, by start, actually reminding you that we are working with these 12 columns in Bootstrap. So I just made a simple Excel sheet right here. Bootstrap is kind of aligned like this. So let's say this was a single row right here. Then a row will be split up into 12 columns like this. And what we have to do in Bootstrap in version 4.6, we actually have to define how many columns we want for each of these guys. So a column can take up 1 to 12 of these spaces. And we are going to try to explain Bootstrap now that we want to take up first some number of columns for the first part. Again, let's try and jump to the application. This part right here should take up a number of columns. And then this part should take up a number of columns. That's where we're going to start out. And right now, just to cheat a little bit and show you my solution for now, if we jump in here, you'll notice that I have two different tables right here, or different columns set up. I have one that takes up 4 columns of the full row. So let's try and again go to this guy. It means that one is going to take up this much space. And then I have another one, if we go back and all the way down, that takes up 8 columns. So that means he's going to take up this space right here. And also, if you want to show it in the Excel sheet, he's going to take up these 8 columns available right here. So that's how it works in Bootstrap. Let's try and build it. Let's try and just clean this out and start from scratch. Oh my God, I'm going to lose all my code. Notice I only made changes right now inside the chat component. There's nothing in the styling or anything. It's pure Bootstrap right here that I built. I'll just start by cleaning out the code right here using my rollback. So we don't have anything in there anymore. There we go. Now it looks like garbage again. Let's try and go in as John again and see how it looks now. And it looks like garbage. I'm not satisfied. So let's try and fix this now. And again, as I said, step 1 is I'm just going to make a new div right here in the top. I'm going to make a div. And that div is going to be my row. So here we're going to make the class of row. And again, this is kind of the way that Bootstrap defines that we're going to have a line right here in our application. Now let's just keep it as that for now. Inside the row, we're going to have another div, and that div is going to be the class that's going to be the first column set that we're going to have. So here we're going to have 4 columns, and let's actually just put in hello in here like this. And then we're going to have another div down here, and that div is also going to have a column, and that's going to be the 8 columns that we talked about in the Excel sheet. So now world. So now we have these 2 guys set up, and let's just for now clean all this out. I'll put it back. But just to kind of show you how simple it actually is right now, we just have a div with a row and 2 different column sets. And let's try and go back to our code now. And you'll see now it says, hello world, nothing else. Okay, but notice it's split up right now. And just to make it clearer for you, let's just put in a small padding in the top right here. So what we're going to do is we're just going to put in a simple style right here and just putting padding top and 30 pixels like this, just to kind of move our entire project a little bit down from this guy up here. Now, it's not going to be a margin, because then I would get the scroller back. Instead, it's going to be padding, just meaning that I'm just going to move everything down, but I'm actually not going to move the actual component down. It's going to still be up here. Okay, that's why you don't see the scroller. Sweet. So now we have this available, and again, notice that we have one that takes up the first 4 columns right here, and then one that takes up the remaining 8 columns in our view right here. Sweet. Back to the code. And now let's just paste this in again and start moving stuff that we need in our code. So let's start with a simple one. We have one that shows all the different chat clients somewhere. Let's have a look. It's all the way down here, all the clients available. We're just going to grab that and put it directly into this area right here. Let's paste that in there. So now the clients will start showing up inside the first of the 2 columns. Let's try again. John, send it. There we go. Now the client John is over here. And we have the world over here. Now notice again, we still have all the other garbage down here, and we'll fix that. And again, let's actually start putting in 2 different cards to make it easier to see the different areas. So I'm going to add a card right here, and that's just going to be a div again. You're going to use a lot of divs. Don't worry about it. It's okay. So I'll put in a card. Inside that div, I'm going to make another div, and that div is going to, I want a header. So it's going to be of the class card header. There we go. Now you can go and read about all these components inside the Bootstrap. And again, remember to pick version 4.6, or else you might get wrong information. Oh, it's so nice that you guys know about versions now. In the header, I'm actually going to just put clients online like this. So it's just going to be a basic text. And down here, I'm going to make another div, and that's going to be the class of my body. And notice I pasted the code, so we have that available inside my clipboard, and I'll paste it in here. So now we have in the header, we're going to have clients online, and in the body, we're going to have the actual clients that are online. Sweet. Let's just continue without just checking the result yet. So down here, we're done now. This is what I want in the left column. Now we have the other column, and that's where I want to put everything else. So again, we're going to make a div. We're going to make the class of card right here. We're going to make a div. We're going to make the class of card body. There we go. That's going to be the body. I also want a header, so we're going to make a div. We're going to make the class of card header. Yeah, I know I'm repeating myself right here. And we're going to make a final div right here. And that's going to be the class of the type card footer. We have everything available that we want now for this card. All the way up here, we're just going to write messages to kind of have information that this is going to be the message area. And here in the body, what do we want in the body? We actually want to show all the chat messages, and luckily they are available right here. I want to kind of change that. I don't want them to be H4s. Let's just put them in as spans for now. See if that can help. No, actually I want them as H6, because if I don't, it'll be kind of garbage right now. I also want to put something in. I can also put in the header, I can put the nickname of the current chat client. And let's actually just put that instead of messages, so it only has hello and the name of the user. There we go. And in the footer, I want to show for now, I'll just put in everything that's remaining. So the form input field, the send message, and who's typing. I'm going to put all of that in here. So that's inside the footer now. And don't worry, we'll just make a bit more changes later to make it prettier. But let's just keep this for now. And the final thing I want to move is the if statement. I don't want that here anymore. Let's just get rid of that div. I want to move the if statement, of course, into this row right here. Sweet. So now that should all be available. Let's try and go in and see how it looks like now. Let's go into John, and you'll notice it looks better at least. We are closer to the result I wanted. Even though it's still an ugly result, we're close to the result I wanted. Now there are a few things still going on that I'm not satisfied with. I want this guy to take full height. I want this guy to take full height. And you know what? Vertical height is not as easy as it would sound to set up. Luckily, Bootstrap helps us. So the first thing I want to do is I want to make sure that the entire component, again, if we go and check this out, what I want to do first is I want the entire component to take full height. And that's actually this component right here, the row. I want that to take full height. Luckily, again, Bootstrap helps me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say virtual height, VH, minus 100. I want to explain that I want to grab 100% for this vertical height. Let's try and have a look again, just to show you what that does for you. Now, it doesn't change the cards, but if you go and select again, you'll notice that now this guy actually takes up the full height. Okay? Let's go back. I also want the cards to take up the full height. And actually, you can do H100 for a card to take up the full height for a card. I'll do it for both cards. There we go. Now they should also grab the full space. And let's just go in and say John again. And say send. And there we go. We have full height for both of them as well. Now notice again, they are all the way down at the bottom right here. Let's just give them a bit of padding in the bottom as well. So again, I'll just do a padding here as well for the bottom. Padding bottom. And let's say that's also going to be, let's say 20 pixels. So if you want a footer down there, it's ready for a footer now if you want to put that down there. But notice when I made that padding and say John again right here and join, you'll see now there's actually space here in the bottom. Sweet. It's starting to look like something I want. Happy days.